How's it going, everyone? Nick from Comic Culture here. Time for another key comic flip through. Guys, I've been waiting for this one for a long time because this is one of my first introductions into comics, and what a series to get into. We have The Walking Dead, Something to Fear, Part 4, Issue 100 from Robert Kirkman. We have Charlie Adler on the art with Cliff Rathburn. So let's get into this one. Release date July 11th, 2012. I was watching the show, got wind about around the end of season 1, season 2 that there was a comic book as well. Just slow to these kind of things. I got the first hardcover volume and started just binging all of them. I actually got caught up to the show rather quickly, bought all the hardcover deluxe editions, went right past the show, kept on reading, and this issue here I actually read before I saw it in the show, and I was like enamored with this character of Negan and Lucille, who we're going to see very shortly. So let's get into this book. What a crazy issue this is. Negan, probably one of my favorite villains of all time. Great story arc. Massive introduction in this book. Let's break this one down right now, see what's going on. So we have some saviors discussing, why they're hiding out right now. They're trying to catch Rick and the team off guard. And so we have a couple of the guys just discussing, why are we here so early? What's going on? Rick and them attacked some outposts that have been scattered around. And so everyone's on high alert right now. And Negan is actually aware of this attack that Rick and his team has done. He's gotten wind that they are traveling right now, him and some of the other folks from Alexandria. So he's gotten wind of that, so there's a couple little scouts out here and whatnot. But we're going to touch base with some of our heroes over here. So we have Andrea. Again, this is very different from the TV show. Andrea and Rick are actually a couple in this one, not with Michonne. Michonne has other love interests in here, but basically they're at their house right now. They're at their fortress, rather, and they are taking different shifts, just kind of staying on guard. And Andrea's talking over here with Spencer, who they, previously had a thing going on. She's really excited. She's like a marksman in this issue, in this series. And she's taking posts right now, just kind of saying, oh, it's always a great shift when I don't get shot at. It makes me feel safe, makes me feel like there's nobody out there. And then her and Spencer kind of have a moment here talking about all that. Spencer even bringing up the relationship between her and Rick. So it's still a newer thing. So we have Eugene here. In a previous episode, or previous issue rather, Abraham is actually the one who took an arrow through the back of the head, through the eye, during a conversation. He had like this big speech that he was giving. So we have Eugene here kind of mourning him. We have Gabriel in the church, just kind of, trying to continue to find his way. We have some other members over here counting their ammunition, counting guns, things like that. And then we have Andrea and Spencer walking around. So it's kind of like a quick touch base on a few different people, what life is like in their community right now. But this is where it starts to get interesting. We have Rick and the whole team basically in this van going on this run right now. And they're basically talking about, wherever we're trying to get to, it's taking a lot longer than we thought it was going to take. It's getting dark soon. There's walkers everywhere. They should probably stop for the night while they have a little bit of daylight, secure the perimeter, make sure everything is safe. And then Michonne is actually going to take the first watch. So we have Michonne after clearing everything, making sure everything's cool. Lines of sight are established. Some of the people are going to bed, and her and Rick have a dialogue here about, are you good? You can take the first watch. Yep, everything's going to be fine. We're totally screwed, by the way. Like, this whole plan we have is not going to work, and this whole thing is a disaster. You know that, right? And he goes, yes, I know. So he's kind of understanding the gravity of the situation. Again, they just slaughtered a whole bunch of people from the Saviors. They don't really understand who they are yet. They just know they have a lot of resources. There's a battle between them. There's a Negan character out there. He's kind of like this ultimate enemy that we need to take care of. And so we're kind of talking about this overall plan that they have to, rid the world of whatever evil. And so we're touching base again over here with Glenn, and Glenn and Maggie had a child. And so, we're missing the kid and everything like that. And so we're just touching base with some of the people before Rick goes ahead and takes his shift. At the end of Michonne's shift, Rick comes up and approaches her. She's clearing the perimeter the way she does, man. She's got those katanas. She's taking everybody out. And so Rick is going to go in there. Michonne's going to get some rest. And we have this really cool moment here. It's just a really nice, peaceful, quiet moment. You can almost hear the crickets in the background. It's so dark. There's nothing really going on. Rick's kind of sleepy. He's resting here. This is a really cool shot of Rick's back, like something's approaching from behind. And you see this, what I would call like a dog catcher thing, right? We have the pole with the little loop that you can tighten up on. And so Rick actually gets snagged on that, dragged off the top of the van, slammed onto the ground. And the only voice he hears is someone from the Saviors saying, "It's one thing watching for meat puppets. They're too stupid, don't know how to be quiet. People are different. right, boys? And then here's a couple other heads. One of them shoots around off into the air to alert everybody, to scare everybody. What's going on? Everybody rushes out. Michonne's got her sword. Other people are rushing out, seeing what's going on. And all they hear is like an approaching van or a bus or these different vehicles. And then all of a sudden, the saviors come running out with all of their weapons already full of like guts and blood, dried blood or whatever. And they are surrounded by this like militia of just ruthless people. And there's nothing they can do. Guns pointing to Rick. Everybody's armed, and so this is where the chaos really starts for our guys here. So we get our first introduction to Negan on here. He has a very interesting tone and dialect and just way of speaking. Lots of F-bombs throughout this entire thing, but his opening line is, I think, just brilliant right here. He goes,
"Pissing our pants yet? Boy, do I have a feeling we're getting close. Gonna be PP Pan City here real soon. Which one of you pricks is the leader?"
Negan quickly finding out who Rick is, kind of give him the lay of the land right here, saying, "Hi, Rick, isn't it? I'm Negan, and I do not appreciate you killing my men. Also, when I sent my men to kill your men for killing my men, you killed more of my men. Not cool." So again, he's got this like devilish playfulness to him that's just like so appealing, but it's menacing and it's just so terrifying at the same time. He's going over to them talking about this new world order. Basically, half of your stuff is going to be mine. If you do not give me that stuff, I will kill more and more of your people. This is the new world order. I know you were the big honcho, you were the boss, you were the guy everyone was gonna look up to, but things are changed now and there's really nothing you can do about it. And all you can see here is, you know, the heads of our heroes right here. We have Rick essentially choking from that wire around his neck still, not responding yet, doesn't really know what to say to Negan. Negan, not too impressed, says, "Line them up." And of course, you know, that can't be great news. So all of our heroes get lined up on your knees, don't move. And this is when we get to be introduced to Lucille. Lucille has an interesting backstory. We get to learn why it's named Lucille, where he got the bat from, and some history of it with some other specials that have come out. And in the show, you learn a little bit more context as well. So it's really cool to kind of see them break down even Lucille as a character. And basically he says down here, "I'm going to beat the crap out of one of you with my bat," who I call Lucille. Lucille has barbed wire wrapped around the end of her. It's awesome. So it's really just a matter of picking which one of you gets the honor. So again, they're just like completely helpless. What this issue does really well is it really sells the fear, it really sells the helplessness of the situation, and it's just remarkable how it was done. Like the feelings that I had reading this book and not having seen the show yet and having barely any experience at all with comics in general, reading this issue, getting to this part, just like you get filled with this overwhelming dread at this point, and it only escalates from there. So we have Negan basically walking down the line of people who are on their knees. Half of them are crying. He's looking at each and every one of them, basically saying, you know, I can't kill a mother and a daughter. That's not great. And this kid over here, you know, he looks like he's been through hell. I'm not going to kill him. There's an Asian guy. That's racist. I'm not going to kill him. And I can't kill Rick because that would make Rick a martyr, right? And so he's going down the line, basically insulting everybody, giving everybody his rationale for not wanting to kill them. So he just can't decide. I simply cannot decide. So he does the "Inny, Mini, Miny, Mo, catch a tiger by its toe" thing, and he goes down the list, pointing at each and every one of them. And what's really great here, it's actually these little tiny panels. The speech bubbles actually connect tail to tail, and then it actually flashes on each person that he's pointing to, and then it gets a little bit of a bigger shot as it slows down, right? It's got this amazing pace until he selects, "And you are it." Bring him up. So it actually lands on Glenn. Glenn, one of the first characters we met in The Walking Dead, Rick's oldest friend in this post-apocalyptic world, met him in the very, very beginning, like issue 1 of The Walking Dead, episode 1. He's been with us the entire time. He met Maggie over on Herschel's farm. They have a child together, all this stuff. We have all this history with Glenn. It's just an amazing punch in the stomach that he was selected here. He gets ripped from his family over here. Rick stands up to, you know, just to say, "No, you can't do this." And so Negan over here actually threatens Carl, basically saying, "If anybody moves, cut the kid's other eye out and feed it to the girl." Again, just showing you the ruthlessness of this. Now, I will warn you, this is going to get graphic from here on out because things are not looking good for Glenn, as we can tell right here. But he comes in with this dialogue that will just send chills down your spine.
"You can breathe. You can blink. You can cry. Hell, you're all gonna be doing that.
And then Lucille comes down. Negan yelling, holy crap, taking it like a champ. Glenn, not in a great way, obviously. He just took a hit right to the top of the head with a baseball bat laced with barbed wire. And Negan's taunting him. We get a quick reaction from everybody that has known Glenn this entire time. Negan taunting him. Are you still in there, buddy? It doesn't seem like you are. Seems like you're just trying to speak, but you just took a hell of a hit. Glenn letting out one final scream for Maggie, his wife over here, and Negan continues to finish the job. Now, The Walking Dead has always been gruesome and been violent, but this is like the first time that I can remember, or that really hit me in a certain way, that one of our heroes was taken out like this. We've seen zombies getting cut in half, heads cut in half, bashed in, things like that, but this was Glenn, man. This was a living person, someone we grew up with through this entire series, and there is nothing. Everybody is speechless. You can just tell. Carl's covering his eyes and everything. Maggie's holding the child. Michonne is looking on with this grimace, and Rick is absolutely speechless here as Negan goes and finishes the job, yelling, Lucille is thirsty. And all you hear is the sounds and this black silhouette, extremely menacing. It is absolutely heartbreaking to see this scene right here. Of course, we get our carnage over at the end. Lucille is a vampire bat, or was that a bad joke? And this is a pretty cool scene right here because we'll see this theme play out a little bit. Rick, all he can say is, I'm going to kill you. Negan replying with, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Speak up. And Rick says, not today, not tomorrow, but I will kill you. Now, there's some moments coming up in the next several issues where there's some opportunities, things like that. And of course, we get this gigantic Negan arc change through the story. But this is a pretty impactful moment right here. And we do get to see this kind of foreshadowing come through in a way in the later issues. But Negan saying basically, go ahead and do it right now. You're surrounded by 50 guys with guns and bats, and they will mess your people up worse than I just messed up Glenn. So go for it. So again, he's kind of throwing it around, beating Rick up, humiliating him in front of his people, just reminding him that, hey, half of your stuff is ours. We'll be around in a week. You better answer the door. Those are our doors now. They're not yours. We'll bust in. We'll kill all your people if you don't play ball. Welcome to the New World Order. And here we are. You have 1 week until then. And they actually pack up their stuff and they leave our heroes with Glenn, a mess in the middle, saying ta-ta. And of course we see all of our people surrounded in the darkness here, just completely speechless, crying and helpless. They just don't know what to do. So that is the end of Walking Dead issue 100. Hell of an issue. Negan, again, I would say is one of the best villains of all time, in my opinion. The key factor for here, first appearance of Negan, first appearance of Lucille, some other characters, obviously from the Saviors, the death of Glenn, last time we saw him alive, and what an impactful key this is. One of my favorite books in the collection, and what a first appearance indeed. Let me know if you guys read this as the book was coming out, if you're watching the show at the same time, if you were keeping up or you're reading the comics and got ahead of the show. In any case, how did you guys like issue number 100? Do you agree that Negan is one of the best villains of all time? Do you love him? Do you hate him? Let me know down below in the comments. Are you still watching the show? Let me know down there, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. See you all in the comments.